There we go. Okay, welcome to Community Action Isle of Wight's Lunch and Learn. These sessions are every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and the idea is to present one of the island's voluntary sector support organisations or group. Previous recordings from other sessions can be found on the Community Action page. Type in health on the front page, and then you will be able to look at the health partnerships page with all the previous recordings and schedules of ones to come in the future. Today we are grateful for Lisa from Wight Sense to coming along. So there we go, Lisa, please tell us all about your organisation.
Hello, my name's Lisa. I'm the CEO of the Isle of Wight Society for the Blind. The Isle of Wight Society for the Blind comes out in two different brands. First of all, we have Sight for Wight, which is the island's charity for people living with a visual impairment. And secondly is Wight Sense. I'm here today to talk about Wight Sense. So Wight Sense runs the habilitation contract for the Isle of Wight Council. We look after people who are living with sensory loss. So that's hearing and sight loss. So people could have hearing loss, sight loss, or both. There's no minimum prescription as to you have to be registered blind or registered deaf. We look at everybody on an individual basis and we assess their need on an individual basis. So what is the sensory service? The sensory service, we offer individual assessments to people living with hearing or sight impairment. As I've said, there's no minimum loss, but we do ask that if you don't have a formal diagnosis, that you do get one. The reason for this is sometimes people have a temporary condition. For example, they could have blocked ears that can actually be cured. So without a formal diagnosis, these early stages of triage haven't usually been done. So we do normally ask for formal diagnosis if possible. We accept referrals from anyone. There is obviously a need for the person's consent, and we do have a referral form. But if you want to, we can just accept any referral from anybody. There's no path you have to follow. You could literally just give us a call with the person in the room so that we know that they have their consent and they can make a referral to us. The assessment is a Care Act assessment, and therefore needs need to be identified to receive ongoing help. So in the first instance, we will visit anybody and everybody, and then at that meeting, we will assess whether they fall under the Care Act assessment and therefore whether equipment and ongoing advice and help can be given. That is Care Act needs that need to be met. They're not set by ourselves. If for whatever reason they're not met, then obviously anybody living with sight loss would come over to the charity, and anyone living with hearing loss would go over to the RNID. So it is not to say that the help would stop there. It would just be different help if the Care Act needs weren't met. The assessments are done in people's homes. We go to your house, and that's very important because the whole point of an assessment is to see what people need in their own day-to-day living, i.e. how do they live, what are they trying to do that they can't do in their own lives as they wish to exist. So we assess their needs. It's a very informal process. Yes, of course, there's forms to fill out, but it's very much done as a chat and as a discussion as opposed to a simple tick box exercise. So whilst we're there, we check and assess their physical environment. If they need referrals to occupational therapy, for example, or for an accessibility disability grant, we can make those referrals. We plan with the client how to support them so that they can remain independent. It is very much client-led, and as with most things these days, it is a full holistic assessment of all of their needs. We can provide mobility training, so it is on a one-to-one basis. So our ROVI, a rehabilitation officer for the visually impaired, will come out and do one-to-one training, get people back used to the routes that they want to follow, giving them guided walks wherever they want to learn to go, and obviously teaching them general mobility training. We also teach daily living. So for example, cooking, if you've lost your sight, cooking obviously is much more difficult because you can't see when something's cooked. You have to measure temperatures and time things more carefully. We can refer to and access services we refer to 13 different organisations, and we follow those referrals as well. So if we refer to somebody, we make sure that that referral goes through and is fully done all the way through to the end. And that is that we, as I say, we monitor the entire process to ensure the outcome is the right one. The biggest thing that a CEO that I say is there's no such word as no, we will find a way to help you. I'm the CEO, so this is the team. I'm the CEO, Lisa. I'm registered deaf-blind. I have acquired deafness and congenital blindness, So I meet the criteria to be registered legally deafblind. We have Paula, who has over 2 decades now of deaf specialism. We've got Karen, and I say Karen because we've got Karen and Caron, which is very confusing. So we've got Karen with a K, who is the deafblind specialist. She is fully qualified in all areas of deafblind. And we have Karen with a C, who is a vision specialist. So roughly speaking, those are the people that you'll meet for the different types of assessment, but all 3 are fully qualified to do deaf, blind and deafblind. So everybody can do everything. We've then got Pete, who is our Rovi, who does the daily living and the mobility training. And actually Andrew has just left us. He's now gone on a part-time basis. And so we're actually, we've now got Sam as the service administrator. So the services, once the specialist assessment is complete, we follow it with every client. We confirm back to them that once they have gone through the assessment, the equipment's issued, the training's done, and all the referrals have been completed, the case is then closed. But we say to everybody, you can always self-refer again. You can always come back to us if your site changes or your circumstances change. The door is always open. You can come back to us. We will then refer them onto Site for Wight for ongoing support if they're VI, and to the RNID if they're hearing impaired, and actually the Deafblind Association if they're deafblind. And as I say, we've also refer out to other external groups. We always, here at the centre, we offer ongoing support in things like assistive technology and equipment, because things change all the time. We, for example, offer one-to-one support if you've got a device, a laptop or a phone or a tablet, and you need the accessibility setting up for you. We have someone here who will get your individual advice, offer you one-to-one help and support in putting that so that you can use that device effectively. Mental well-being is extremely important. Sensory loss is often very slow in its onset, and people can become gradually withdrawn and isolated, and before actually realizing it, they realize they're not going out anymore. For us, this is because we need to get in as soon as we possibly can. The more that we can help people while they do have residual sight and residual hearing, the easier the transformation for that person is. It's really important to know that just because somebody is wearing hearing aids, it doesn't give them back perfect hearing. I'm a hearing aid user. I am completely reliant on hearing aids now. But the problem with hearing aids is you hear everything at an equal volume. So you can hear the traffic outside, the people in the room next door, the person tapping the keyboard at an equal volume that you can hear somebody talking to you. And it really can be massive sensory overload. And that's where people become isolated and start switching off, because it is just too much effort to try to listen to just one conversation when there's so much background noise. Equally, you put your glasses back on, it doesn't give you your full vision back either. It makes life a lot easier, of course it does. And hearing aids and glasses are wonderful technology, but don't be fooled into thinking you put the glasses on, you put the hearing aids in, and your vision is or hearing is completely restored. So to reiterate, the sooner that we can get to people, the better. The easier it is to make adjustments when you have a little bit of hearing or a little bit of sight left. Most sight loss is due to age-related issues. Most hearing loss is due to age-related issues. For example, out of the people that we treat, over 75% of the people that we see, it is age-related problems as opposed to disease or lifelong problems. How do you get in touch? 01983, obviously for the island, 240 222. We have a website, very, very simple. It's just literally what do we do in the referral form, wightsense.org.uk, and the email is info@wightsense.org.uk. We have a centre in Carisbrooke. You can drop in at any time. We're here Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. And so if anybody does need to just drop in, get some advice, look at some equipment, then we are open 9 to 4, as I say, Monday to Friday. Any questions? I should say Wight Sense, any questions, but my apologies.
Right.
Does anyone have any questions?
I need to unmute myself. Okay, so I'll stop recording now, and then we can free to have a chat and any more questions. Just for the tape, we will be putting this on our community action website. As I say, type in health, and then you'll be given a list of all the presentations we've already done, plus the ones that we're about to do. Thanks ever so much, Lisa. That's really good.